Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolina. I am the founder of Sade Adventures, and we specialize in Latin America. I've personally been to South America 33 times. I have explored the Galapagos Islands by boat, by ship, by land island hopping opportunity. And I have been to Peru multiple times, hiking the different trails, exploring the different sites. So I am here to answer all of your questions. We have chatted about possibly going to the Galapagos, and I just wanted to show you and share with you all the different options. So I've put together a sample itinerary for April of 2023, and I'm going to share my screen now so that I can go through the itinerary with you. I find that it's easier this way so that you can see what's included, what's not, how things work, jot down any questions, and get back to me. This is private touring, which means you can choose any dates. You can tweak the itinerary with me to figure out which hotels work best. Where would you like to be upgraded, and where do you want to save or want to be budget conscious? I have so many different ideas and options in each place, so do not hesitate to send me all of your questions. So I sent you a PDF, and it starts like this: Flavors of South America. It's a predominantly Galapagos itinerary, but I added on Peru to show you what it would be like to add on. The dates that are set on here revolve around the cruise. So in the Galapagos, there are about 30 or 40 different boats that I work with. There are a few that are quite large, holding 90 people. And then majority of them are smaller, holding about 16 people. I chose one of those 16-person catamaran yachts for many reasons. And when we get to it, I will talk a little bit more about it. But if you prefer larger ships, or if you've heard about Galapagos Island hopping and want to chat about those options, we can do that as well. When you arrive in Quito, and there are two airports in Ecuador, Quito and Guayaquil, I suggest we visit Quito so that you can actually see one of these colorful cities that is in Ecuador. I have personally lived in Quito for 3 months with a local family when I was studying years and years ago, but I felt really at home here. It's a great walking city, perfectly preserved, old town, so it's like a photographer's dream. So April 11th, we're going to arrive. There's going to be a Sade Adventures sign that a guide will be holding at the airport. He's going to take you to the car, private driver, takes you to your hotel so you can rest. And I chose for this itinerary, Casona 1914. It's a little boutique hotel in the old part of town, really well-preserved old mansion that's now a hotel. And I love this hotel because when you wake up, you know you're in Ecuador. It feels like you're in South America. And I kind of tried to keep that throughout this itinerary. On the second day, the guide that has picked you up at the airport will come right back to the lobby, meet you after breakfast, and show you all around Quito. Quito is surrounded by volcanoes. We can take a gondola ride to the top of Pichincha. We can go to Panecillo Hill for stunning views. Of course, the waiter line is there, so we can go and do some experiments. There's chocolate workshops. There's all kinds of different things that we can taste along the way. Of course, the old town, the cathedral, it has gargoyles that are very unique because it's only animals found in Ecuador. So you'll see like Galapagos turtles on top of the church. Really great city to explore. And now on day 3, a lot of people will just do the Quito tour and move on, but because you're only there for just such a short time, I want you to kind of get an idea of what it's like on the mainland of Ecuador. So I added a 3rd day in Quito. And this 3rd day, we can kind of do a few different things depending on your liking. We can go north of Quito to Otavalo, and that is the largest indigenous market in South America. It's quite impressive. All the different indigenous communities come down to bargain with each other, but also to sell to tourists. So it's a very fun, colorful day, not just for shopping, but for cultural interaction. Or if it's too early in the trip to do markets, we can go south down the avenue of the volcanoes to Cotopaxi National Park. And this is a stunning, large volcano, an active volcano. And en route, we will see little villages and markets and less known sites that people are not visiting as often as, closer to Quito. And Cotopaxi Park itself, we can do some self-hiking. There's even biking or horseback riding. And there's haciendas spread out throughout. They're like local ranches, which we will go to, have a beautiful lunch, and then return to Quito for the evening. But I think by doing this third day, it really will give you a sense of what life is like in the mainland of Ecuador. And now day 4, we're ready to fly to the Galapagos. So Galapagos is, the #1 visited destination in Ecuador and one of the top destinations in South America. It is kind of a once in a lifetime adventure, so it has to really be done right. We really have to put some thought into what works for you. It is a really expensive part of the trip, so you want to make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. So on this particular trip, I showed you a 4-night cruise. So you can do cruises, you can do land hotels. The cruises, you can do a 3-night, a 4-night, or a 7-night. So I chose the 4-night just to show you what it's like. And I chose the Anahi. This is a 16-passenger, 8-cabin catamaran. I love catamarans because they have the double hulls, they're very stable. So if someone comes to me and says, I'm worried about seasickness, maybe I should do the larger boat. I say, no way. The catamarans are way more stable than the large ships because the large ships are not like those cities on water like you're maybe familiar with in the Caribbean. They are just 100 people. So, they're not that big after all. So these catamarans and even some trimarans are very, very stable, and I highly suggest them. Also, if you go in the first half of the year, I would say from January to May, or even from December to May, the water is calm, the water is warm. So that also helps with any motion sickness. The Anahi, it's actually named after the owner's daughter. I think it's really sweet. His daughter's name is Anahi. They offer all of your tours. You get off the boat twice a day. You go snorkeling, you go hiking. There's wet landings, dry landings. There's all kinds of different sites that you're going to visit. So you're really going to get a good idea of the Galapagos on this boat. All your meals are on board, and there's always swimming and snorkeling throughout. So this is the kind of a cabin, and I chose this because there's double beds, there's windows. And I kind of emphasize that because if you start looking at budget boats, you might see some with bunk beds, with portholes or no windows at all. And that is no way to do it for the Galapagos. You're probably only going to go once. Let's do it right. So just to give you an idea, here is 2 other boats just to kind of put you in the face of how Galapagos works. If we were to downgrade, there is a 4-night option in the same kind of week span at the Millennium catamaran or yacht, and also nice double bed, windows in the cabins. And just by switching to that boat, it saves you $700 per person. But if you want to upgrade, it's very easy to do that in the Galapagos. Natural Paradise is one of the newest yachts. You see it's very fresh, very crisp, all these amenities on board. And for 4 nights, it will be about $1,000 more per person. So here we are in the Galapagos. We're cruising for 4 nights, 5 days. We're getting off the boat multiple times a day. We're snorkeling, we're hiking, we're doing all kinds of excursions. And then after the cruise, we fly back to the mainland. Now, here's the thing. If you have more time but don't want to cruise for a week, we can easily get off the boat and add on a mainland excursion. There are so many fun little hotels, but also safari style tented camp. It's called Galapagos Magic if you want to look that up. And it is a really wonderful, fun way to end the trip or start the trip. It's in the middle of the national park. So there are large tortoises all around the tents. And it's kind of a, Galapagos experience to do that. So ask me about adding some nights before or after. We can definitely stay on the beach, relax, because I like to tell my clients, Galapagos is not a vacation. It is an excursion. It is an adventure. You're waking up in the morning, you're getting off the boat twice a day, you're snorkeling, you're moving around. So you do get off this week-long experience quite tired. So keep that in mind. So if we were to do just Ecuador on day 8, this is where we fly to the mainland and fly home. However, since you're already in South America, since Ecuador is right next door to Peru and Machu Picchu is in Peru, I suggest that we continue on to Peru. So on this itinerary, just to show you, we have our flight continuing on to Lima, spend the evening, rest, and then spend the next day exploring Lima. If you're short on time, we can easily remove Lima. We can spend the night at the airport hotel, get some rest, and continue on to Cusco with the sole purpose of seeing Machu Picchu. But if you have the time, Lima is a great modern city. It's on the ocean, lovers park, great restaurants. One of the top restaurants in the world is actually in Lima. Really good museums, really small museums that you can tackle in an hour or two. So it's a good place to kind of unwind after the cruise. And then we are off to Cusco. It's about a 50-minute flight from Lima, so not far at all. And here you are in high altitude. So a lot of people will stay in Cusco, feel ill, they're not acclimating quickly enough. What I like to do is pick you up from the Cusco airport and whisk you up to the Sacred Valley. This way you are 2,000 feet lower. You're acclimating easier, you're breathing easier, and Sacred Valley happens to be a hub for Inca sites and ruins and indigenous markets and villages. So it's a really great natural place to let your body acclimate, but also see a lot of things. So on that first day that we land, we're going to go to some soft hiking areas where you're not really doing any strenuous activity. We'll do these salineras, which are Incan salt mines. We'll do moras morai, which are laboratories of the Incas where they worked on corn and 3,000 types of potatoes, and so on. And we'll spend 2 nights in the Sacred Valley, resting, acclimating, really taking in all this countryside for the 2 days. On day 11, I'm going to come back, pick you up, and visit some of the sites that we love, like Ollantaytambo, which is a massive Incan ruins, Misminai community, which is a little village that we sponsor here at State Adventures. It's off the beaten track. There's no busloads of tourists there. It's just our visitors that go there. Also, we'll go to little villages, little markets, just to show you what life is like in the Sacred Valley. It really gives you a glimpse into the Andean life. Now on April 22nd, now we're ready for Machu Picchu. I'm going to put you on the train. It's called the Vista Dome. It has a glass dome ceiling. It's beautiful views, 2-hour ride, and you're at the Citadel. Our guide picks you up from the train station, takes you to the ruins. You have a beautiful tour, and then we spend the night in the village right by the ruins. It's just a little shuttle ride down from the site. Now, a lot of people will leave that evening on the train back, and they're really missing out because it's such a whirlwind of a tour. It's such a big site. So if you don't spend the night, you really are missing out. If we will spend the night, and in the morning we wake up and go back for sunrise at the ruins. Sunrise at Machu Picchu is really special. Way less people. The lighting is beautiful. So I really suggest you do it that way. And then finally we go to Cusco. Now we're fully acclimated. Now we're feeling good. We can walk around this cobblestone town. We can go to the ruins and all the different sites all around Cusco and feel good instead of rushing it in the beginning. Once you're done with Cusco after 2 nights, day 15, this is the time we'll take you back to the airport, fly you to Lima, and here you are connecting with your flight home. So in 2 weeks, you can really tackle 2 of the largest sites in South America. First Galapagos, then Machu Picchu. There are so many different ways to do both countries. I have ideas for all of them. I've been to South America so many times, and I'm here to help. So for pricing purposes, this is based on 2 people. So $56.99 per person is that Ecuador portion. So Quito, Galapagos, all of those sites and logistics there. And then if you were to add that flight to Peru and continue on to Machu Picchu, it would be another $31.99 for that. This is very flexible, depending on what hotels we choose. We can always downgrade the properties. We can always cut a day out here and there. So let me know what works, what doesn't. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I'm going to send this over to you, and I so look forward to hearing your thoughts and what works for you. And we can work on it further. So happy travels and happy planning.